The new Superman movie just dropped. Some people think it's great. Some people think it's abysmal. I, for one, think it's a mixed bag. Let's talk about it. I'm Sammy3PEAT, and I'm about to cook.
Let Sammy3PEAT cook. Let him cook. Let Sammy3PEAT cook. Let him cook. He's cooking, he's cooking, he's cooking, he's cooking, he's cooking. Sammy3PEAT.
And cook we will, but first remember to hit that subscribe, that like, and hit that bell. Let's jump right into it. The movie's been out for a little over a week. If you haven't seen it, feel free to hop back in after you have. 3 years into Superman's career as the titular hero that we all know and love, Superman has just stopped an international conflict between two fictional countries. There are talks whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. The press has been talking about it. The people of Earth have been talking about it. And of course, the government has been talking about it. All the while, Lex Luthor, who's been hating Superman from afar, finally decides to jump into the fray. His incredibly comic booky plan to take the Man of Steel out for good has the government's blessing. He's going to make a giant wad of cash to do it. Superman, by the help of the Justice Gang, the Daily Planet, Krypto the Superdog, and the lessons taught to him by his Earth parents, Jonathan and Martha Kent, he's able to win back the public favor and expose Lex Luthor for what he is, leading to Luthor's arrest and Superman being beloved by all. That's long and short of the movie. And is it good? Is it any good? It really depends on who you ask. If you're a Snyder bro, it's the end of the world. You know, if you're a gun boy, then it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. If you're a comic book guy like myself, well, it's a mixed bag. I can tell you that the cast was great. David Cornsweet was a wonderful Superman. Rachel Brosnahan was a pretty good Lois Lane. And probably the most fictional thing in the movie with an alien that flies and shoots lasers out of his eyes. She was a mainstream media journalist with a little bit of integrity. See what I did there?
That happened, and we all let it happen.
I didn't initially like Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. The more that I think about it as it pertains to the movie, his performance definitely grew on me. Skylar Gisondo, if that's how you say his name, is probably the best Jimmy Olsen that we've ever gotten in live action. Ma Kent yells at the phone, even though it's on speaker. It feels authentic. A lot of it does. The movie is bright. It's colorful. It feels like a Silver Age comic come to life. There's a lot to love about this movie. Not just for comic book guys like me, but for general audiences alike. I think it's going to do very well in the box office. That being said, there were things I don't like. So let's get to things I didn't like. Would have been better if I'd been honest. Yes, there's plenty to like about this movie, but that doesn't make it without sin. Snyder Bros aside, if you don't like James Gunn, there's plenty of Gunnisms that will stand out and potentially maybe ruin this film for you. A lot of the initial critiques about James Gunn is he's better at doing an ensemble film, something, like The Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy. At times, this might feel like he's actually forcing the ensemble on the film instead of just focusing on Superman. James Gunn, like Snyder, I've noticed, has problems with pacing. The rumor is that there's like 25 to 30 minutes that was chopped from the first screening of this film, and it shows. There's certain scenes that needed a little bit more time to breathe. There's certain parts about the plot that needed a little bit more elaboration. It's not as much as Snyder, where you feel like he's wasting time with slow motion and lens flares. It doesn't feel like that. It just feels like there was stuff missing. One of my biggest irks about the film is there's post-credit scenes, and I know that feels like a Marvel thing. And even though there's post-credit scenes, those have been around forever. That's not a Marvel thing. These ones, though, are absolute nonsense. They don't add to the plot. They don't get you excited about what's to come. They're extremely annoying if you waited around knowing that there was post-credit scenes. They were nothing burgers. They're inexcusable as far as I'm concerned. Like, I really, really had to pee. The mid post-credit scene is what we got for like the first poster. It was like him and Krypto watching the Earth come up from the moon. Thanks for that. Yeah, the pacing's all over the place. You can chalk that up to edits, re-edits, things cut from the film. I would have liked to see more of Superman batting 1,000, and then it would have meant more because this is supposed to be the first battle that Superman really loses. I would have liked to see Lex Luthor plotting more and showing us how like this grand plan came to fruition, a little bit more planning. You know, like his master plan didn't fall out of the sky. This is one of the things that I was talking about with just letting a couple things breathe. I don't blame him. Kind of have to, because this came out on the screen and you stamped your name on it. So these problems do exist. You might not be totally to blame, but at the end of the day, you signed off on this. On deck, if you know anything about me, I'm a stickler for lore. There are a couple of things that are lore-breaking moments. Jor-El is definitely one of them. Last but not least, I'm positive Krypto was only added to sell toys, and he's mostly a nuisance throughout the film. He does help in battle, and I feel like he never got his good boy moment where, you know, there's plenty of things where you see Krypto, like, fucking things up, and besides the initial shot where we're introduced to him, where it takes quite a long time for Superman to convince him to drag him to the Fortress of Solitude, we really didn't get, like, a moment where, like, you know, Krypto kind of saved the day. There should have been a reason for him being there, other than, like, I'm just watching him for my drunk cousin. That's kind of all we got as far as, like, Krypto goes. But if you're willing to overlook these problems, or if they never bothered you to begin with, that's what bothered me. All in all, I'll give this film about like a 4.55 tops. As a comic book movie, I'll give it an 8. And as a Superman film, I'll give it like a 6 to a 7. Because even though it has its problems, it's still better, in my opinion, than anything Zack Snyder ever shit out pertaining to Superman. I'll give that an asterisk because the warehouse scene in Batman v Superman is goated. So that was one thing that Zack Snyder did get right, but I haven't seen James Gunn do anything Batman related. So all in all, that's what I did not like. That's what I rate the film. You know, I do love my comic books, and I was at the checkout aisle in the grocery store, and I found the companion piece said exactly what comics inspired the movie. Now, there was a couple of comics in there where I already saw the influence of them, but, you know, I just thought it might be great for you guys for any future reading. We can do that right now. Let's just call this segment filler at this point. Okay, topping off the list, there should be no surprise that it's on here. If you've read it, you will definitely see the influence of this comic all over the film. It's All-Star Superman, one of the best Superman stories ever told. Just a timeless piece of fiction about the Man of Steel. You can see influence, especially in the Fortress of Solitude, automatons that he has, you know, the Superbots, those guys running the Fortress of Solitude. You definitely get that aesthetic from All-Star Superman. And the coloration's very bright, very hopeful. You would see a lot of that influence from this book. If you haven't checked it out, do yourself a favor. It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book. Second one is A Superman for All Seasons. Another excellent, excellent book. This really kind of explores the down-home feel of Smallville. There's even a scene where you see Clark's childhood room. It looks like it's taken right from the pages of this book. Another great read. And then one that I wasn't familiar with, but I actually took the time to read, Man of Steel, Lex Luthor. This is a very good depiction, and you could definitely see in this 6-part series that this is the Lex Luthor that they were going for. Those are the comics that you can check out. Feel free to read them if if you've read any of them already. Talk about it in the comments. Otherwise, yeah, that's my opinion on Superman. These are the comics that James Gunn said influenced him. If you have read them, you wouldn't be very surprised that those are his picks. But I don't know. I'll be around, guys, till I find something else that inspires me enough to do another one of these videos. But other than that, you can catch me doing Cavecasts every Saturday and in other news every Sunday night. So have a great day.